What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning back in to another episode of Florida Prison Talk. I got my boy Nate Almighty in here, which a lot of y'all probably seen his YouTube page. He's about to introduce himself. He's going to give you his point of view on Rikers Island. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
What's up, y'all, man? It's your boy, Nate Almighty, a.k.a. the global dark-skinned ambassador, man. You know what I'm saying? Glad to be working with Florida Prison Talk. When I started my channel, the algorithm immediately put me on to your shit. I'm feeling it. I like what you're doing. It seems like we basically came into the same class together, meaning like we started around the same time. So, it's been fun watching you grow, you know what I'm saying? For those of y'all who gonna look for me on YouTube, it's Nate Almighty Worldwide. But I might be lit enough to where if you put Nate Almighty, my shit might pop up. I don't know. I might be lit enough. But yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna get right into it. Can you briefly speak on, hold on, where you from in New York? What city?
I'm from the Bronx, New York, 161st Street, the Cortland area, the Park Ave area, the Morris area.
All right.
Right by the Yankee Stadium. If you know, you know.
Got you. And briefly speak on what crime led you to Rikers Island.
Okay, before I went to Rikers Island, I was on probation for 5 years for a charge that I caught in juvie. It was a robbery charge. I was on probation for a year. I got arrested for catching a felony across the street from my high school, Bronx Leadership, in front of the Wendy's. I started the shit. It ended up being a big brawl between a couple dudes from my block who was with me, and then we were joined up with a couple dudes from our school, and it was basically against another school, a bunch of dudes that I never seen before, never seen after. My dumbass went back to school the next day, and you know what I'm saying? The D's just arrested me as soon as I came out of school. I got arrested in front of the whole school, chicks crying and shit. It was like a movie. I ended up doing a 1 to 3. I did 24 months out of that. I came home 2010, but that was what led me to go to Rikers Island, March 2008.
Okay. Now, are you with the organization?
I would say no. First off, I used to be heavily involved in a street gang originated in the Bronx, called GFC, God's Favorite Child, God's Favorite Children. I would say that overall, it's not so active as it used to be, being that in 2011, 2012, there was like 1 or 2 real big Fed cases, and a couple guys really got a whole lot of time. The core, because it used to really feel like a family of brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like the Spartans. A lot of dudes told on each other, and it led to guys like my boy Melly Mel Baller. Anybody watching this, they might be familiar with his name, Melly Mel Baller, and other guys like 13 and Junta, stuff like that. These are dudes who held it down. My boy Melly Mel Baller is from my building, and he's doing like 3 life sentences right now. You know what I'm saying? He went in 19, 20 years old. He been locked up ever since. His moms and his family, they trying to get him, you know what I'm saying, like a good lawyer, because there's like loopholes in his case and stuff like that. But basically, after that all went down, I chose to still be cool with guys from the team. But as far as whatever little petty crimes I may have been involved in, whatever little situations I may have been involved in, I totally cut that out. Like, I started having kids around the time, and I was basically like, I don't don't know who I could trust. You know what I'm saying? So I stuck with my niggas. You know what I'm saying? I focused on other things. I started looking for work, going back into doing my music, being a father and stuff like that. So you could say I used to be involved in a little street gang that's block based. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I was never like heavily involved in like the Bloods or the Crips or situations like that. However, I am from a side of the Bronx that's heavily blood with maybe like one or two real gangster Crips walking around and nobody play with. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. I would say I'm neutral.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, when you was on that bus to Rikers crossing that bridge, was you scared? Was you nervous about Rikers Island and everything you heard?
Definitely nervous. Definitely nervous. Scared. I'd already did a considerable amount of time in juvie. I'm not gonna say I was scared, but definitely nervous. Definitely worried about what it was gonna be like. Definitely worried what it was gonna be like. It was definitely different from juvie. It was way more violent, but I quick enough, I basically realized that just like juvie, it's simply a matter of respect. It's like you're gonna allow people to do shit to you or you not. It's as simple as that. And luckily, cause when you first go to Rikers Island, there's a place that you stay for maybe 4 or 5 days called intake. There's an intake mall where they have you at. It's basically 50 beds, bunch of new niggas. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to run into the guy who I caught my first charge with that landed me in juvie. He had caught a new charge and he was on Rikers Island. This is my boy Sean, aka Diddy. He from my neighborhood as well. It just so happened that my block where I come from had a real respected name as far as if you was from like the Bronx or Harlem. So I'm not gonna say I had it easy, but I didn't have it as hard as other dudes who really, really had to prove themselves because you come from somewhere where nobody knows you and there's nobody to vouch for you. I was lucky enough to have people who was there before me that I knew from the street that told me, okay, cool. If somebody says this, don't do it. If somebody asks you for this, don't do it. When you go to your first cell house, do not sit down, stand up. Be prepared to get your ass kicked. Be prepared to give some ass whippings.
Damn. So with that being said, can you try to keep the phone a little bit steady, Nate, if you can? With that, yeah. All right. Yeah. So with yeah. Hell yeah.
1 sec. Yeah.
All right. So with being said, how long did it take before trouble found you? Before you got in your first scuffle?
I'm gonna say everything was good at intake the first 4 days. The first house I went to was 5 Main. I would say within the first 20 hours, 24 hours, trouble found me. They not gonna wait. They're not gonna wait and write this out. They're not gonna wait. You're gonna be tested immediately, especially when they ask you, where you from? Are you blood? Are you Crip? Are you YG? That's another big street gang. Big street gang that started in the Bronx. It was a point where they ran C-74 Rikers Island. For those who don't know, I was in C-74 Rikers Island. That's adolescents. That's people from 16 to 18 years old. Some people would say it was the most violent part of the island at one given time. But trouble found me immediately. I got to 5 Moon at nighttime. So it was close to bedtime. They had me in my cell. Immediately, they had somebody come to the cell, try to press me, told me what the program was. You know what I'm saying? The program is basically you coming in, you giving up phone calls, you giving up commissary, you sitting in the back, you're not allowed to talk in the day room, stuff like that. They tell you what the program is, and then ask you if you're gonna follow it. They'll ask you if you're gonna be a problem. So the dude that asked me if I'm gonna be a problem, I'm like, must be, because I'm not giving y'all niggas nothing. You know what I'm saying? Even though when I said that, I was scared. You know what I'm saying? Especially because I wasn't aware of what all the different slang terms meant. So they was like, all right, so you're not gonna listen? So that means we gonna kill you tomorrow. So when they said we gonna kill you tomorrow, I'm like, damn, like, I'm gonna die? I just turned 17. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just turned 17. Like, I'm really gonna die. Like, these niggas is gonna finish me.
Right.
But really that meant we gonna beat your ass. Like, we gonna smoke you. You know what I'm saying? So once I told the dude that, immediately the CO that was working at that time, at that shift, he came to my cell as well. He like, hey, so you gonna be a problem? That was the first time I realized that corrections officers be with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but nobody about to violate me. Like, I'm GFC, I'm from Cortland, period. Even though I was a little scared, but I had to stick my chest out. Because if they could read it, they're gonna see as far as they could go. So boom, I come out the next day. I go in the day room. I'm standing up in the back. I'm watching how the people who run the house, there's two people that run the house, both these dudes from Brooklyn. There's maybe 3 or 4 dudes that's on the team. These dudes got chairs. My era was an era where it was so much fighting over chairs that they ended up taking the chairs away. Because there was a lot of violence over chairs. And then there would be 1 or 2 iron like picnic tables in the front, and then 1 or 2 iron picnic tables in the back. I'm watching the seating arrangements where it's like a lot of dudes sitting in the back, they asses hanging off the seat because they squeezing in, but it's dudes in the 2 front picnic tables. They got all the space in the world. And I remember my boy told me that if I'm gonna be good and I want to be comfortable, I gotta have enough respect to where I could sit in either the first 2 picnic tables, or I get a team spot, or I could run the crib. You know what I'm saying? You try to run the crib at your own risk. There's protocols for that. And a lot of times the dude just end up getting jumped by the whole team and he end up getting moved anyway. Like, you really gotta already have a respected name to be able to get a one-on-one fight. But anyways, I'm standing in the back.
Hold on, Nate, my bad. It's muffled a little bit. Is it something under the speaker?
Yeah, hold on, let me fix this. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so I come out, it's early. I'm standing in the back. So immediately, every couple minutes or maybe once or twice an hour, the CO will walk down the corridor while people are in the day room to check to see who's still in their cells, make sure nobody hung themselves or nothing like that. Nobody's sick, nobody dying in their sleep. These will be the times where if you got a witted CO, you'll be able to get your fights in the day room and not get caught. So immediately I'm standing up in the back and guys is like, hey, so you not with it? You don't respect the program? I'm like, no. So they said, all right, come fight. So immediately I start getting a one-on with one dude. And of course, within 3 to 5 seconds, I just start getting pummeled by like 3, 4 dudes from the team. 3, 4 dudes from the team. Not gonna lie, they spanked my boots. But then they finished spanking me by the time the CO come back and they're like, yo, hold it down. Don't snitch. Don't be a rat. I'm like, all right, copy, cool. I still go back. I'm standing up. Later on that shift, I got spanked again the same exact way. They invited me to have a one-on. I'm like, I know y'all going to jump me, so just do it. They jumped me again. They jumped me maybe once or twice more. And then the dudes that ran the crib, they pulled up to my cell. They was like, hey, you know what? Where you said you was from? Oh, Portland. Okay, you know such and such, such and such. I'm like, yeah, yes, no, blah blah blah. They're like, oh, you GFC? Yeah, I just started hearing about that. Well, look, it's clear you're not gonna let nobody take nothing from you. You got heart, I respect it. So you good. You're not on the team, but you got a rocket spot.
Okay. Okay. Hey, hold, Nate, real quick. Last time. Hold the phone up like you did at first, because it's still muffled. Just hold it.
I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, it's better like that. Yeah. Okay. So after that, they smoked you 3 times. They say you not with the team, but you good.
Yeah, they said if you want to be on the team, you gotta fight somebody else who wants to be on the team, or you could call out somebody already on the team, and you could take his chair. I was like, nah, it ain't that serious, man. It ain't that serious. Within my first 2 days being there, I'd already began to see that the dudes that ran the house and the dude that's on the team, they be working too much with police. And I didn't respect that at all. Of course, I am not gonna call it out and then be an enemy of the whole crib.
Right.
You know, I seen that they be working with police too much. You know what I'm saying? Like a dude will come in, that's a threat, they'll plant something on them, tell the CO, or it's like a lot of little like tribute, like bullshit. Instead of just doing what you're supposed to do, which is what y'all show me is, if it's a problem, spank it. If it's a problem, fight. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to chill. I'm good right here in the front with my space. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? But I was probably in 5 days, maybe like 3-4 months. Then I got into a fight with a Patia from the other side of 5 names.
Okay, that's Trinitario, right?
Yes, that's Trinity.
How'd that start?
Yeah. What you say, brother?
How did that fight start? What was that over?
Okay, so this was my first or my second Rikers Island story. So in that story, basically, I was having a bad day. This was when I was still like in an illusion, thinking that I was gonna go home sometime soon. So I went to court. I got remanded, and I basically just had an attitude. Now, there's 2 sides of 5 names. There's the north side and the south side. I was on the north side. So they would line us up together and walk us when we go into maybe like the gym or something like that. So I remember being the last guy at the end of 5 main north side. And then behind me was the Patia dude who was in front of the line of the south side. So this was a dude who I wasn't aware at the time, but he had already had a name. He basically was the big boss of the Trinities. I forgot his name. I seen him when I went up the green and I was up north, but he didn't remember me, and that was good on my part because he was a big boss. You know what I'm saying? I could have really got poked up, but I just remember I was having a bad day and they was walking behind me. This was a dude who he was already up north, but when you up north and you still got a case, they'll put you on that bus and they'll drive you back to Rikers Island so you could go to court. So he had court or some shit like that either that same day or the day after. But I just remember having a bad day. And I remember just noticing him behind me, but he didn't know who I was. And then at the time, I was skinny. I was like 5'6", 5'7", like 150, 60 pounds. But I had heart. I always had heart. My thing was, dudes would see me be a cool guy, a guy that like to laugh, or a guy that's quiet sometimes. And it's dudes who I guess they would try to judge a book by its cover, and I would have to show them who I am. So I remember just looking back, noticing him. He was like, who is this pussy? Basically, he was like, who is this nigga just talking shit while we walking in the corridor? You know what I'm saying? He like, yo, look back here again. I'ma beat you up. In my head, I'm like, should I stuff this nigga? I had no idea about the name he had. I had no idea he was the big boss. 74 adolescents. But I wanted to ignore him. But when I didn't turn back, he said, that's just what I thought. Day room nigga. So when he called me day room nigga, I turned around, I snuffed him immediately. He didn't see it coming. He was shocked. So after I snuffed him, he was a little bit shocked. Before he was able to swing, I grabbed him like he was a big, heavy dude. So it's like, it's not much I could do, but I grabbed his legs and then I lifted his legs up and I pushed my weight on him backwards. He pushed backwards. So basically, that was stupid because immediately, as soon as we hit the floor, he was able to throw me in a headlock. So he choking the shit out of me. I'm literally about to pass out. But we in the middle of the corridors. So the CO from my house, he separated us. So then once he separated us, I got my last little snuff in, punched him in the face, kicked him in the stomach, and then I started making a scene like I wasn't about to die. I was like, yo, stop fucking playing with me. I'll fucking kill you. I'm recording, talking all that shit. And from that point on was the first time my name started to travel a little bit around Rikers Island. But it led to me having one or two more issues with Trinitarios before it ended after one major fight with another dude who ended up having a building for Trinitario. And I basically had a fight with a house full of Trinitarios. They spanked my boots, busted my nose, I had lumps in my head. But once again, when I talk about heart, I ran into the dude at a visit maybe 2 weeks later before I went to the box for the situation. And he called me around the corner. I thought it was gonna be another fight. And he told me, like, hey, I respect your heart. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of niggas is brave enough to just snuff me. That was my thing. Like, you could be bigger than me. You might be stronger than me. I ain't got the best hands in the world, but I got a nice little 2-3 combo. And if I hit you with this left, I might knock you out.
Right.
I might knock you out. I don't gotta be Floyd. But dudes say, hey, I respect it. We can end this right now. Or if you want to keep going, we can take care of it right here. And it was right before a visit. I'm like, my mom's about to see me. You about to have a visit. This is the only thing we got to live for in Rikers Island. I'm not about to ruin that visit for both of us over some shit that should have been squashed a minute ago. I'm tired of beefing with y'all Spanish niggas. There's too many of y'all. There's too many of y'all.
It was a lot of Trinitarios at that time at Rikers Island.
They were in select areas, but there was always a few of them. There was always a few of them.
So how'd they smoke you? How'd you end up in their area for them to get to you? You got transferred to their house?
Yeah. So when the first situation happened with the first two, I was in 5 Main. I ended up in either 2 Main or something like that. And there was another dude who was on the team. He was Trinitario. He heard about the situation, but he didn't really have the say-so to do anything to me because he was only on the team and he was by himself. It was Black people who ran the house. So somehow, some way, 6 to 8 months later, I ended up beefing with Trinitarios again and one lower. But luckily, they didn't know about the previous situation. Because by that time, that particular dude had already went up north and never came back. But that was a situation where I was cool with some of them, but then they started getting deeper in numbers. And then they started, you know what I'm saying, trying to be disrespectful. And I was already there before some of them. And I was like, hey, bro, like, you wasn't even acting like this before 5 of your mans came in here.
Right,
now
right.
y'all was fake racist shit. That fake racist shit is what led me to pop it off on that other Trini dude, because he had the building too. This is another big dude, big ass nigga from the Bronx. He came, they immediately gave him the crib, and then he started like trying to like prioritize his niggas. And I was the only black dude that stood up for my people. And while I'm fighting, getting smoked, getting my nose busted and shit, all these other dudes just watching, going to their cells and shit like little bitches. You know what I'm saying? After that, my name started going around the island a little more, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically what that was.
Okay. And would you say that being at Rikers Island, did it make you more violent than you already were? Like,
I'm gonna say
stuff? Did you start going along with the Rikers Island politics? Did you start extorting people? Was you stepping down on people when they came in the house?
I feel like there's a status quo. There's a just like police, where they have to get a certain number of arrests, there's like a quota. And it's like, it's really a mentality of either get 8. I definitely participated. I was on Rikers Island before I went up north for 19 months. I'm gonna say my first 6 to 8 months, I definitely participated in what I would call the minimum amount of extortion and oppression that was necessary to keep my own name respected. It was never something that I all the way felt like was cool, because like the people who oppress other people the most and extort the most, these is dudes who don't have help on the outside. You know what I'm saying? At some point I lost all my bitches, but my mom always was setting that bread out. Like my commissary was always lit. My mom's worked at Con Edison. She made good money. I really had no business in the street. You know what I'm saying? But that's just when your father not around and you a man, you a kid, you want to be a part of something, it just go that way. But I participated in a minimal amount of extortion. I definitely violated a couple dudes. I definitely made a couple dudes stand in the toilet. I had a dude
stand in the toilet. What's that?
Well, what I noticed when I started making these videos was that actually is some sort of tradition, which started in like the 80s, 90s, called the meditation dance. Where Bloods would have dudes stand in the toilet and dance in the toilet and be like, "Don't hurt me, Blood, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, Blood, don't hurt me," right? At the time when I first did that, I didn't know it was a tradition. I was just one of those dudes where I was in an instigating phase. I wasn't Blood or nothing, but when I seen dudes come in, and I would ask them who they were, and because me being from a hood that is full of many different blood sets, I knew what blood sets was like real right and what blood sets is made up. These were the dudes who had the hardest. You come in with a gang and your gang not official, but you acting like it is. So I remember being in the cell during the court date, and it was a friend of mine from the Bronx. He was a particular blood set, and then there was another dude who was from a blood set. My friend happened to be sleeping at the time. I asked the dude, I'm like, "Oh, you Blood? What set you claiming?" I was not Blood, but he told me the set, and in my head, I'm like, "Bro, that's not Blood. We about to violate you." So I woke up my mans. I'm like, "Hey, your Blood homie here." So, so my man's who Blood, he get the saying all that. gang code stuff that I don't know shit about. And I told my mans, I'm like, yo, bro said he such and such. My mans was like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? He was like, hey, bro, you owe money. You owe money. Like, what's in your pockets? Like, you got food, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He was like, matter of fact, take off your sneakers and your socks. You're not allowed to put your sneakers back on or your socks until we leave, and then we leave and we go on to Rikers Island or you go home. So I just decided to instigate and add more flame to the fire. I said, matter of fact, step in the toilet, nigga. He tried to resist. We both got aggressive with him. My man's definitely put that extra pressure on him. He stepped in the toilet. I picked up his socks, threw it in the toilet. Then I told him to pick it up. Pick it up, put his sock in his mouth. He tried to resist. My man's put more pressure on him. He basically ate his sock.
Damn.
Yeah. I want to say that was corny too. That was being a bully. Bullying is not cool. I was just at a point in my life where I got used to the status quo. And I was just taking advantage of the situation a lot of times because there was nothing else to do. But honestly, I ended up in House Marquee Lower after I had a fight and I got moved out of a crib. And in this particular crib, they was working on a kind of program to rehabilitate some of the inmates in there. So they was having like special privileges that the rest of C-74 couldn't have. And I remember being 17 watching the autobiography, not the autobiography, but the Malcolm X movie. And after that, I probably participated in extortion for maybe 1 more month. But then I ended up going to the box, and then I ended up reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. And by the time I left the box, I never extorted nobody again. Nobody again. I was strictly about respect. I don't care about oppressing nobody. It's as simple as this. I'm going to give you respect first. So then once you disrespect me, I have a right to deal with it however I want. And that's how I did the rest of my bid.
Got you. Okay. And to back it up a little bit, because I want to ask you questions about different organizations. Like in particular, I want to ask you about the Crips. Do the Crips live in Rikers Island? Or they get smoked immediately?
It depends. Once again, I'm gonna say that I'm not the main dude to be talking about blood and Crip politics. However, I was close enough. I was what you would call, let's say in medieval times, you would have like the kings in them, the monarchy. Those are like the visual rulers. But then you would have the nobles who, depending on who you are, you get access to a lot of information that the king knows. You might be able to spit your 2 cents and you might be able to have things moving your way. I was kind of like one of those type of dudes. But Crips, I'm going to say that, honestly, a lot of Crips came and they folded their flag and they didn't even claim Crip. Some of them would get exposed for being Crip and then they would have a hard time after that. However, I have seen very, very, very gangster Crips. I have seen Crips that ran houses. I have seen Crips that got hands and point blank period, they gonna beat you up. So either you gonna get beat up or you gonna respect they shit. I remember a situation where there was a real small Crip dude, and I didn't even make a story about this yet because I don't remember it all the way. And I'm gonna wait till I either find somebody who I was there with who can recall the story. But there was a story about a real small Crip dude and a big blood dude with muscles. They fought over a chair And everybody expected the little Crip dude to get washed, but in all due reality, he beat that big blood dude up, beat the shit out of him.
Wow.
Beat the shit out of him. Like it's here and there. Like there's a from my era, there was a Crip named SK. He was handling his business on Rikers Island. I believe he ran a couple houses, but the last I heard of him, they say he went up north, he dropped Crip and turned Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when you go up north, you got to deal with some of these people you disrespected. You got to deal with some of these people, you know what I'm saying? So maybe the heat was too much for him.
Right, okay. And get ready to close up here in a little bit. What's a day room dummy? Like what's a day room dude? What is that?
Okay, so really it's day room nigga, but I put day room dummy because, you know, algorithm and YouTube and all that shit. Okay. But a day room nigga is basically, like I said, the dudes sitting in the back. The dudes that's sending out commissary, giving out phone calls. The dudes that's being forced to slapbox each other on Friday nights. You know, just any dude who has no respect, period. And he's not willing to fight for his respect. On the plus side, though, I've seen day room dummies come in. They just scared of being in jail. They scared of getting beat up. They get beat up a couple times. They start fighting. They realize they got better hands than a lot of these other niggas. They start kicking ass and taking names. And then they start running shit. I've seen that happen a few times. But basically, a day room dummy is, you know what I'm saying? He's soft. He's soft. He allowing himself to get violated.
Okay. And how about the corruption at Rikers Island? You ever been beat up by a guard? You ever seen that?
Definitely been excessively, definitely have been affected by excessive force by Rikers Island COs. Not as much as other dudes. I got a story about how a CO fractured a Latin King's eye socket.
Damn.
If you get into it with these female COs and the female COs press that PBA button, that alert button, and they call it A-team. The A-team is these bunch of big brolic dudes that do nothing but work out and fuck bitches. They come in, they beating you up, and they asking questions later. Just like my first and second Rikers Island story, where the CO buzzed open this Crip dude named Ice. He came into the house. He wasn't with nothing. He was a gangster. The CO let 4 or 5 blood dudes run up in his house. Run up in his cell. They put him in a full Nelson, locked his arms, locked his legs. They beat his face in, his chest, his stomach. Ice didn't snitch. He didn't go to the infirmary either. And his lungs collapsed in his sleep. He died overnight. I think the COs got the least punishment out of that too. Meanwhile, all the other dudes snitched on each other. They got kicked out of Rikers Island. There's definitely a lot going on. It's a lot going on. For real. A lot of fuck shit. This is why I had a lot of problem deep down with dudes who ran the house if I seen them interact with police too much. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're gonna pick their job and their career over you. Period.
Gotcha. That's a fact. That is a fact. And when we speak about Rikers Island, we didn't touch on that in this thing, but I want to touch on it real quick. People speak about the phones. I don't know if that was a 90s thing, but is the phones a big deal when you was there, or?
Phones, definitely a big deal. There used to be 3 phones, but in my era, there was 2 phones. In almost every house, the gang members run the phone. If the house is ran by Bloods, The Bloods had their specific time where they on the phone first. If you good and you got respect, you simply just gotta wait your turn. You could basically be on the phone as long as you needed to, as long as there's not somebody with a higher ranking than you that needs to use the phone. Then you would have to finish your phone call, let him do his thing, and then you could get right back on after that. Some houses, the police ran the phone to make sure the day room niggas got a chance to call their mothers and shit like that,
Right.
call their girlfriends, check up on their kids. I respected those COs. But yeah, the gang members ran the phones. They had the first say so.
And do they ever, when you was there, did they have multiple gangs in one house when you were there, or each gang had their own house?
In C-74, they mixed it up. I heard that in like other buildings with like older dudes, because maybe the threat of violence was higher. If you was a known Crip, they'll send you to where the Crips was. But when I was there, you would have maybe you be neutral, but you manage to run the house. It'd be one of those in there. Almost always a Blood or YG that ran the house.
That's what I'm saying.
Mix it up.
How can a neutral run a house? Like,
I seen it happen one time, and this was in 5 Main, my first house that I was ever in. Basically, he was there for so long, and he proved himself. So it was basically like a rite of passage type of thing where the stars just aligned for that situation. He was one of those dudes that was locked up for murder. So he was there since he was 16. By the time I got there, he was already 18. He ran the house. This was a Brooklyn dude, short dude, hands official though. Hands official. You're not gonna be neutral running the house and you can't fight, period. The gang members will get away with that. You know what I'm saying? Off the script of they know somebody. But neutral, if you're afraid to commit any type of violence, you're gonna have a rough time. You're gonna be fooled. But that was the only time I seen it. This dude had a lot of respect in 5 Main. The COs respected him, and the dudes that was there for a length of time who seen him and interacted with him, they respected him. So he definitely was the one dude I seen that was neutral that ran the house.
Okay. And it seemed like you was neutral. You got into it with the Blood when you first got there. After that, it seemed like you had a name for yourself. Your time was going pretty good. How about other neutrals? Do the average neutral become a day room nigga?
I'm gonna say yes, unless he's prepared to fight for his respect.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to respect. I mean, you probably not gonna run a house if you're not a part of a gang, but me being neutral, but being a part of a street gang that was starting to really get known, like towards the end of me being on Rikers Island, going up north, GFC really started getting lit. And dudes from outside was beginning to come to Rikers Island. You know what I'm saying? And then there was this legendary nigga named Banco, who he's from my area, but I'm more familiar with his brothers. A lot of me not having it so hard as other dudes was sometimes they would ask me, hey, you know Banco? Sometimes I would say no. Then sometimes I would lie and say yeah. And I'd be good on the script for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but he was GFC.
Okay.
He was GFC, you know what I'm saying? So but basically it's all about fighting and the level of violence you're willing to commit. It's as simple as this. If you try to take something from me, I'm going to punch you in your face. The bully then has to question themselves. Am I going to get punched in the face every day trying to take a Pop-Tart from this kid?
Right.
If I feel like this kid might stab me, if I try to extort him, do I really want to go through that?
Right.
Or do I want to respect him for having heart? It's as simple as that. Heart. It don't matter what gang you in. If you got heart, you can find a way to bid. Period. You can find a way to bid. You can find a way to live as comfortable as you can. Just mind your business. Stay out of the gang politics. Let the gang members do whatever they're going to do. I would say don't join no gang. And just stand on your own tools. It's really about being a man, letting your nuts hang.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you're going to let a man consistently take something from you, you might as well let him rape you. It's as simple as that.
Gotcha. That's right. Hey, I heard Nate Almighty, Florida Prison Talk, easy win. Real quick, last question, I promise. I keep on hearing about these the Bloods, the Crips, and Latin Kings, and the Trinitarios. Who are the YGs? What, is that a subset of the Bloods?
No, just like GFC, YG was a street gang that was started in the Bronx. It started like maybe a year or two before GFC. It used to be intertwined. There were a lot of GFCs and YGs that, because you were allowed to claim both. They were cool when I first got into Rikers Island. By the time I came home, it was a full war, and that was what led to the large Fed time getting dished out to dudes from both sets. But YG is a legendary, heavily respected street gang that started in the Bronx. And basically, just like the Bloods, it spread out to every single borough in New York City. There's YGs in every single borough in New York City, but it's heaviest in the Bronx and Harlem. The thing that made YG travel is that you could be any gang and still be YG. Okay. If that gang allowed you to still claim YG. So when I first got there, point blank period, YGs and Bloods pretty much had every single house.
Okay. Got you. Wow. All right, bro. So let people know about your page. Let them know what you speak about, and what you got going on now in your life, man. Go ahead.
All right. So first I want to say that I'm not the same dude I was when I was heavily in the streets, getting into trouble, starting with people for no reason, getting myself locked up. I claim all responsibility for any bad thing I've ever done to people. I have a tremendous amount of guilt and remorse for it. I've definitely received my karma from a lot of these situations, and I probably got more karma to receive, but I'm a guy who, I got a little woke when I was in Rikers Island, and I started mentally preparing myself to not be in the streets no more. I dabbled in the streets when I came home after that big Fed case, and I started having kids. I fell back. I'm currently living in South Carolina. I got my own apartment. I take care of myself. I help take care of my mom. Social media. You want to find me on Instagram, Nate_Almighty_GDA, Instagram, Facebook, Julius Peterson, my YouTube channel, Nate Almighty Worldwide. If you go in the search bar and you put Rikers Island Stories, you bound to find one of mine. I'm basically all about figuring out a way to build wealth for myself without having to be in the matrix, the hamster wheel, working an average 9 to 5 till I'm 60 years old, about to die. I plan on being a millionaire within the next 5 to 10 years. I'm looking into things like learning financial literacy, investments, stocks, bonds, stuff like that. I interview people who I know from our communities who have intellect in them areas, so they can teach me as well as my subscribers. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a father. My YouTube channel is basically my life story. How I feel about the world, me dealing with women, how I feel about what's going on in the government, my life story, like I said. I want to thank you. I want to thank Florida Prison Talk for having me. Maybe we'll work again in the future. Maybe we'll do something for my channel. I definitely appreciate you showing me love on your platform, brother.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Easy win. Florida Prison Talk. Nate, all my information will be in the description, and it will be pinned in the comment section. All the links for all his social media. Appreciate all y'all.